In lesson 3.3, we will be talking about multiplying rational numbers. Just a quick review. Remember, a rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. So we'll be working with multiplying fractions in this lesson. We're basically just going to go through some examples and talk about how to do them as we do the example. So 1a, we want to find the product of 1/2 times 4/10. Now right here in our directions, write in simplest form. That is important. We must always write in simplest form, meaning it cannot be reduced and it is not an improper fraction. So we look at 1/2 times 4/10. There's two ways we can think about doing this. So we will do our first example one way, our second example, we're going to reduce at the very beginning instead of at the end. So to multiply, we multiply straight across. So 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 10 is 20, and then we want to think about reducing. We look at 4 and 20. They are both divisible by 4. So 4 divided by 4 gives us 1. 20 divided by 4 gives us 5. So our first answer is 1/5. And for our second one, 5/12 times 6/10. This time we want to look at reducing first. So there's nothing that divides into 5 and 12. We can divide 6 and 10 by 2 though. So we're going to change this to 5/12 times 6 and 10 are both divisible by 2. So 6 divided by 2 gives us 3. 10 divided by 2 gives us 5. Now we can also reduce across as long as I have a number on the top and a number on the bottom that are divisible. So here we see 5 can be reduced to 1 and 1, and 3 and 12 are both divisible by 3. So 3 becomes 1, 12 becomes 4. So we're really taking 1/4 times 1 over 1. So multiply straight across. We get 1 over 4, so 1/4. So first problem, we multiplied first, then reduced. Second problem, we reduced first and then multiplied. Both methods work. If you reduce first, you'll end up with smaller numbers, but this first method does work as well. Keep in mind, you will be using calculators in class, so the larger numbers won't be quite as much of an issue. And we will talk about how to work with fractions on your calculator in class. All right, so 1c, 3/4 times 8/21. I like to reduce first, so 8 and 4 gives us 2 and 1. 3 and 21 can be reduced to 1 and 7, both divisible by 3. Now I'll multiply straight across. 1 times 2, 1 times 7. We end up with 2 sevenths. All right, now 3/4 times -7/9. Working with a fraction, or with a negative here. This negative, we can rewrite this as 3/4 times, move the negative into our numerator, so -7 over 9. Now think about reducing. 3 and 9 gives us 1 and 3. Multiply straight across. 1 times -7 gives us -7. 4 times 3 gives us 12. Double check at the end. There's nothing that goes into 7 or 12, so we are in simplest form. Moving right along. -9/12 times -2/3. Okay, well, 9 and 12 we can reduce, both divisible by 3, so -3/4 times -2/3. I can keep reducing. 3 and 3 gives us 1. 2 and 4 gives us 1 and 2. Don't forget about our negatives here. So -1 times -1 is +1. 2 times 1 is 2. Now, keep in mind, if you don't understand all the reducing, crossing out that I've been doing, you can always go back to how we did the first problem. Multiply first, then reduce. All right, part B, 2 and 1/3 times 2 and 5/7. We do not multiply mixed numbers. We first need to change it into an improper fraction. If you don't remember how to do that, we multiply, then add. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1, 7/3 times 7 times 2 plus 5 gives us 14, 19 sevenths. I'm going to reduce my sevens. 1 times 19 is 19. 3 times 1 is 3. We want to change this back into a mixed number now. So how many times does 3 go into 19? Well, I know that 3 times 6 is 18, so it goes in 6 times. 19 minus 18 leaves me with 1/3. So 19 over 3 can be reduced to, or rewritten as 6 1/3 as a mixed number. Then 3 3/8, multiply and add, so we get 27 over 8 times, again, multiply, add, times 7/3. I'm sorry, this should have been a 27 here, not a 29. Okay, so 3 goes into 27 9 times. 9 times 7 is 63. Over 8, we want to change that back into a mixed number. Well, 64 would be 8, that's too high. So it goes in 7 times. And then 8 times 7 is 56. 63 minus 56 leaves us with 7/8 remaining. So 7 7/8. All right, same idea but with evaluating. So we have 1/2 AB. We show our substitution. 1/2 times A is 6/7. B is -4/9. Notice I moved the negative into our numerator already. So we're just going to multiply these first two together first. Okay, well I know that 2 and 6 can reduce. So 1 times 3 and then 1 times 7 gives us 3/7 times -4/9. Okay, well now I see 3 and 9 can reduce. So 1 times -4 gives me -4. 7 times 3, denominator of 21. So final answer, -4 21st. Okay, same idea here. 3/4 xz, so 3/4. Show our substitution. X is 14/15. Z is -3/7. Again, move that negative into the numerator. All right, if I start reducing, 3 and 15, so that reduces to 1 and 5. 4 and 14, both divisible by 2, so 2 and 7. 1 times 7 gives me 7. 2 times 5 is 10. Times -3/7. Again, I like to reduce first. 7 and 7 both go down to 1. 1 times -3 gives us -3 over 10. That does not reduce any further, so final answer is -3/10. -3/10. Alright, a couple quick word problems. Lewis typically eats 4 1/4 ounces of fruit each day. Today he ate triple his usual amount. How many ounces of fruit did Lewis eat today? Make sure you show your work. So triple means times 3. He typically eats 4 1/4. So 4 1/4 times 3. I do not like multiplying mixed numbers, so we change it. Multiply, add, so 4 1/4 can be rewritten as 17/4. Times 3. Now 3 can be rewritten as 3 over 1. Anytime you have a whole number, rewrite it as that whole number over 1 so that you have that fraction. Nothing reduces this time, so we're just going to multiply straight across. 17 times 3 is 51. 4 times 1 is 4. Now leaving it 51 over 4 does not make any sense for this kind of situation. It doesn't make any sense to eat 51/4 ounces. So we definitely need to change this to a mixed number. Well, 4 goes into 51 12 times. 12 times 4 is 48. So then 51 minus 48 gives us the remainder of 3. Keep our denominator of 4. And it's a word problem, so we need to label 12 3/4 ounces. Okay, and now what is the product of -3.5 times 5 5/6? Again, multiply and add. Be careful with your negative. We're going to multiply, we're going to add, but we're going to ignore the negative and just bring it down. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1. So -7 halves times 35/6. Nothing reduces at this point, so multiply straight across. Negative 7 times 35 is negative 245 over 12. We reduce. 12 goes into 245 20 times, so negative 20 with a remainder of 5 twelfths. If you're unsure of how we're changing from an improper fraction to a mixed number, we will review that some more in class if any of you have questions. And final problem for this lesson, we show our substitution. 3 times negative 2/9 minus 12 times 1/6. I'm going to rewrite this as 3 over 1 so that they reduce. Leaves us with negative 2/3 minus, again, write that over 1. 12 and 6 reduce, so 2 times 1, 1 times 1, so negative 2/3 minus 2. And we will work with adding and subtracting with unlike denominators in the next couple lessons. Just note the final answer is negative 2 and 2/3. All right, there is lesson 3.